Hi, good morning and happy winter solstice. The winter solstice is the longest night of the year, and it signifies a time where we are calling back the light. We're calling back the light because after this, the days are going to finally begin to be longer. They're going to get longer. We're going to have more sun, more light, more beauty. So this is a time for renewal, and it starts the season of Christmas or Yule. It's a beautiful time of year. We're going to talk a lot about all of that. So welcome to the virtual moon circle. Didn't get to host it live, so here's my video for the virtual moon circle. I hope you enjoy. So I made a little slideshow here for the virtual moon circle, and let's begin. So to open the circle, I would like everyone to grab a candle, and we're going to call on the directions. So if you want to pause this video and grab a candle, we will call on the directions and light a candle. So, I have my candle here. Lighting the candle together. And we're going to call on the directions. So we call on the directions. To show us the way. We call on the elements to guide us. We call on our spirit guides, our ancestors, our higher selves, and Great Spirit to hold space for us during this gathering. We call on Mama Earth, Father Sky, Grandmother Moon. And we take a deep breath in, exhale it out. We gaze on our candles. This beautiful solstice moon circle celebration, where our theme is to call back the light and to reconnect with our inner wisdom, activate our inner archetype within to align us with the energy of our highest potential for 2025. We'll be talking about astrology. We'll be talking about the winter solstice, a little bit about Yule, and really dive in to this beautiful dark time of the year. So another way to begin, when we're usually in circle together, in person, we all pick a card, and a lot of times we pick a goddess card. But because it's the dark time of the year and it's the winter and the fall, is a time to go within and to work on some shadowy aspects sometimes. We are pulling from the Obsidian Veil Oracle. The Obsidian Veil Oracle is a bunch of goddesses and female archetypes from all around the world, and these are more of the shadowy aspects of ourselves and of the goddess. So I'm going to pick us a card, I'm going to mix them up, and this is for all of us. Usually we each pick our own, but since we're doing this virtually, this is one for all of us. the succubus. It says, in the pursuit of gratification, one may risk losing oneself in the depths of darkness. So we're going to read her story from the book of the succubus. So I just have to look her up in the book. 93. The temptress of the night. The succubi are believed to be female demons who seduce and prey upon humans, feeding on their life force and vitality. According to the legends, succubi possess supernatural allure and beauty capable of captivating their victims with their irresistible charms. They often appear in dreams, drawing unsuspecting individuals into their seductive embrace. Succubi are said to drain their victims' energy, leaving them weakened and vulnerable. The story of the succubus is one of temptation, desire, and the destructive power of unchecked passions, embodying the darker aspects of lust and consequences of giving into forbidden desires. The succubus serves as a reminder to examine our own desires, passions, and ways in which we may be tempted to compromise our well-being and integrity, urging us to be cautious of the allure of instant gratification and to recognize the potential harm that can arise from unchecked desires. Confront your vulnerabilities, patterns of self-sabotage, and the ways in which you may be allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. You have the ability to honor your boundaries and to make choices that nurture your soul rather than deplete them. So, wow, I feel like that is huge this time of year. And just this generation and just that we live in, the world that we live in right now. So really looking into the ways we are tempted to compromise our own integrity, our own well-being, those instant gratifications, things like that. Really sitting with all of this and really taking time to see where am I self-sabotaging? What ways am I allowing myself to be taken advantage of by others, or especially by like all those damn ads we see all the time online, on social media, even social media giving us that instant gratification of like, ooh, that instant like, that instant, like compliment, that instant, the instantaneous of online shopping, just being able to purchase and buy real quickly instead of going out into the world and being social and supporting small businesses and actually meeting people that make the things that you've purchased. And even just having, instead of like a physical, tangible thing, having an experience that maybe took a little bit of effort and wasn't instantaneous. So looking into all of those areas and honoring your boundaries. Making those choices that nurture you and your soul, the deepness of us. So, nurturing our soul rather than depleting them. And that's what instant gratification does to us, is it depletes us. It gives us that quick serotonin endorphin boost, just like sugar that we're all addicted to things like that, instant gratification, sugars, things of that nature. It's alluring. And our unchecked desires. So why are we seeking out this instant gratification? Why are we seeking out these instant things, these easy things? Like, what are our unchecked desires? Looking into them and really facing them, looking at them and saying, okay, this is why I've been eating all this sugar. This is why I've been buying all this stuff off TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or whatever. This is why I've been focusing more on my outward appearance instead of my inside, or, why I've been afraid to, or not afraid, or whether it be fear or whatever the reason being why I haven't put myself out there more and spend more time in the real world with people, going to events, going to classes, going to workshops, going to different services for my personal and emotional and soulful well-being, instead of, focusing more on my outward appearance. Like why can I go and, pay all this money for skincare and things like that, and my nails and whatever else, but when it comes to my deeper soul, that's not where I'm spending my time and money and whatever. It's just looking at your desires, whether this speaks to you or not, looking at your desires and the reason behind why you're seeking out these instant gratifications. Really sitting with that reading and how it resonates to you can be really beneficial right now. Thank you, succubus. The succubus. So I'm going to read that again. In pursuit of gratification, one may risk losing oneself in the depths of darkness. Okay. So that's our shadow goddess. So now that we've talked about the shadow goddess, we're going to go into our astrology. And we're going to talk, I know that the full moon already happened, okay? The full moon. And that was on Sunday, I believe, or Monday, Sunday or Monday, this past week. It is now Saturday, December 21st. So it is officially winter solstice, officially winter, officially Capricorn season. So we're also going to talk about that too. But we're going to start by going back a little bit and talking about the full moon in Gemini that was Sunday, December 15th. And this is from moonreading.com. And the reason why we're going to talk about Gemini first is because this Gemini full moon really was heavy for a lot of us. A lot of people I've talked to, a lot of my friends, a lot of my clients, a lot of my family, a lot of people, we're having some breakdowns, some really heavy things come up. So let's just talk a little bit about it before we move on. So here we go. The astrology. Gemini full moon. A dynamic full moon rises in Gemini, casting its luminous glow on the dualities in your life. This moon is all about adaptability, mental clarity, and emotional release. It arrives to illuminate the stories you tell yourself and the truths you share with others. Perhaps you've been feeling torn between two choices or pulled in multiple directions, trying to make sense of it all. Or maybe you've noticed that certain conversations feel unfinished, leaving you yearning for resolution or deeper understanding. We got the fire going on in the background too. The Gemini full moon shines a light on the delicate art of adaptability, encouraging you to explore the balance between authenticity and versatility. It's a reminder that there is wisdom in knowing when to stand firm in your true self and when to shift your demeanor to align with those around you. This doesn't mean being inauthentic. It means recognizing that flexibility is how you present yourself and can build a deeper connection and foster harmony in your relationships. Are the moments where being more flexible could have eased tension or opened new possibilities? How can you adapt to the energy of those around you without losing the essence of who you are? Gemini's duality teaches that there are moments where being unapologetically yourself is the greatest strength, but there are also times when softening your edges or mirroring the energy of others can create opportunities. This moon invites you to reflect on where the balance exists in your life and to embrace the ability to navigate social dynamics with grace and intention. Full moons are a time for release and culmination, and this one shines a light on patterns and distractions that no longer serve you. Take a moment to reflect on where you've been spreading yourself too thin or giving energy to situations that feel unbalanced. Write down what you're ready to let go of, whether it's self-doubt, overthinking, unresolved tension, or anything else, and allow this moon's energy to help you release it into the universe. Okay, Gemini has an interesting story. So let me talk a little bit about Gemini's story. So I wrote down the story, but I'm also going to add to it. Gemini, the story is a woman became pregnant with 2 babies. And one of the baby was the son of a god, and the other was the son of a mortal. And how she got pregnant with them at the same time, to where they're twins in her belly, I can't remember. But that's the story. So one's mortal, one's a demigod. They were born as twins. And when they grew up, they fell in love with twin sisters. But a different set of brothers also fell in love with the same 2 sisters. So the 4 men decided to fight for the death for these women, because that's what they did back then, right? So the 4 men fought, and one of the Gemini brothers was killed. It was the mortal one that was killed. So he went to the underworld. And the other brother, who was the demigod, was able to go to Mount Olympus. So without his brother, he was like, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm going to Mount Olympus. And he went to Mount Olympus and was granted the ability to a few times a year to be able to go to the underworld to see his brother. So he petitioned. He was like, I really want to see my brother. I love my brother. Like, I need to be with him. Like, we're brothers. We're twins. We're mirrors of each other. So they were able to give him the opportunity to see his brother in the underworld. And this story shows that the 2 sides of Gemini, the one that is light, the light side in the heavens, and the one that is the dark, shadowy side in the underworld. So it is the shadow and the light. This represents the 2 sides of ourselves and the dualistic light and dark within us all, and the battles that we face to be in and see them together and getting along and loving each other. So the dark side, the shadowy dark side of ourselves, and the light side of ourselves, looking at each other, seeing each other, blending each other, complimenting each other, loving each other, no matter what. So it's kind of a cool story. And I was listening to an astrologer who was talking about Gemini, which is often depicted as like two-faced and inauthentic, but that's not really true. Like, maybe some Geminis out there portray those qualities, but really Gemini, she described Gemini as a mirror version of yourself. So looking at yourself in a mirror and really seeing yourself, sitting with what you see when you look in the mirror, and does it align with how you act in the world and how you really feel inside. So when you look at yourself, do you see who you really are in that mirror? And are you mirroring to the world who you really are inside? So this authenticity that can come with really sitting with Gemini and really learning to love all sides, the shadowy sides, the light sides, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the wonderful, the magical, everything about you. And being able to see it and then project it out, and being okay with it, being honest about it. So it's really about seeing yourself, seeing the clarity, and being authentic, and the dualistic nature that we all have. So, because Gemini, just like Capricorn and just like all the other signs, like there's so much negative connotations about these signs thrown out there. So let's talk about the different aspects of these signs too, the deeper dives into them. I really enjoy that. I will also share in the link, or in the description, a link for one of my favorite astrologers on YouTube, her reading for Capricorn season. Now that we're in Capricorn season, I really, really like it, and I think you will too. So I like to always share things like that out too. So we're going to talk about Capricorn season and the winter solstice. So this is a reading from Luna Lifted. I really enjoy their astrology as well. So I'm going to read a little bit about that. And instead of having the camera facing my computer screen, I'll just have you look at me while I'm reading. I'm figuring this out, okay? Because usually if we were doing this virtual moon circle live, we would be on Zoom and I'd be sharing my screen with you, and that's why I made a slideshow. But I had a migraine the day I wanted to do this, so I decided just to make this video. Okay, so from December 21st, today, till January 19th, the sun shines in ambitious and hardworking Capricorn. The winter solstice marks the beginning of Capricorn season, a time for cherished traditions and introspection. As we reflect on the past year, we can look inward to identify goals for the future. Self-discipline, an admirable Capricorn trait, can be a powerful tool during this season. So Capricorn is definitely seen as very self-disciplined, as well as many other things. It can be a powerful tool during this season. After all, we all have areas in our lives that could benefit from a little more self-control. Capricorn's discipline and tenacity can help transform our wildest dreams into reality. As an earth sign, Capricorn energy is practical, reliable, dedicated, and in tune with the physical world. Ruled by Saturn, which is the planet of structure and discipline. The one astrologer I listen to calls it like the Mr. Miyagi. Saturn calls Saturn like Mr. Miyagi, which I like that. Saturn, the planet of structure and discipline. This season is ideal for pursuing achievable goals. Achievable goals. So, ding ding. Listen to that for later. This is a great month to adapt a more business-oriented mindset, focusing clearing your mind and getting shit done should come more easily. It's like a helpful boost for anyone facing like final exams or year-end work or, New Year's goals, things like that. Capricorns are unique spirits with layers to them. While their unwavering determination may seem like all business and no pleasure, they are fearless in their pursuit to live authentically. Capricorn energy is Dolly Parton telling Vanity Fair that the thing she dislikes most is laziness, and the trait she most deplores in others is dishonesty and being late for appointments. But Capricorn energy is also Dolly Parton's sparkle, big hair, confidence, and totally unabashed honesty. It's the notion that if you put in the work and stay true to yourself, you can do what you want because you've earned it. Capricorn season reminds us that we are solely responsible for our actions. This time of year offers structure, accountability, grounding, and connection to our material desires. As we transition from one year to the next, we often reflect on the past, make cherished memories, and step boldly into the future. Slow down, tie up loose ends, and remember that your new year can become anything you choose with Capricorn's influence. During this season, we are all impacted by Capricorn's energy, regardless of our individual birth charts. So that's a little reading there. Okay, so I really like the video I'm going to share with you with the other astrologer talking about Capricorn season, because she dives into the other aspects of Capricorn too. So especially if you find that like you are a Capricorn or you have a lot of Capricorn in your chart. Like I'm not a Capricorn, but I have a lot of, I think I have like 4 planets that are in Capricorn in my chart. So I have a ton of Capricorn in my chart, and I've always like, read the different things about Capricorn and been like, do I feel aligned with that? Maybe a little bit, maybe some. And then I've met Capricorn sun signs, and I'm like, okay, I could see this. And now diving deeper into the deeper meaning of the sign itself, I do resonate more with it. So look at different resources. When you look at your chart and you're like, oh, I have so much Scorpio in my chart, or I have so much Pisces, or whatever you might have in your chart. Because we have all the signs in our chart, but it's like, where do they pop up and who's popping up the most and things like that. So really read different resources for different meanings of the sign, because you'll get a deeper, more profound meaning to each sign instead of just like the cookie-cuttered stereotypical version. So, and we're not cookie-cuttered. We're not stereotypical. We're not. So we gotta look deeper. Okay, so let's talk about the winter solstice. The winter solstice is the shortest day and the longest night of the year, occurring when one of the Earth's poles, either the north or south, is tilted further away from the sun. This happens around December 21st, December 22nd in the northern hemisphere, and around June 20th or June 21st in the southern hemisphere. So on the winter solstice, the sun is at its lowest point in the sky at around noon, resulting in the least amount of sunlight for the day. The winter solstice marks the day with the fewest hours of daylight, after which the days start getting longer again in the northern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice marks the official start of winter. So guess what? It's winter today. It wasn't winter before. That was fall. Now we're finally in winter. So a lot of people, feel like winter starts way sooner than it actually does, and really negate the deepness of fall. So, yes, so this is the start of winter. Where in the southern hemisphere is the start of summer, which is just so crazy, right? Like it's really cool that the earth has all this dualistic nature to it. The humans, like the universal consciousness, has all this dualistic nature and energy going on. Many cultures celebrate the winter solstice, often with festivals, rituals, traditions that honor the return of the sun. For example, Christmas and Hanukkah are linked to the solstice in different ways. There's lots of links to the solstice. So many places, like the pyramids, all these deep cultural, ancestral healing sites, like these huge monolithic structures, like it's around the world in all different cultures, all link up to the solstices, like being able to see the light come through, being able, like, it is just, it's been so important to us as humans forever. So taking time to really sink into it feels right. It feels right in our soul. It feels right in our DNA. It just feels more aligned. So I'm so happy to be diving into this with you guys, and to continue to dive into this year after year on a personal level too. Like this is part of my spirituality, is diving into things like this. So, okay. Next. Winter solstice, calling back the sun. The winter solstice has been celebrated by many cultures throughout history, often marking a time of renewal, hope, and reflection. Since it's the shortest day of the year, the solstice symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, and for many, it was a time to celebrate the rebirth of the sun. Yule, which is Norse and Germanic tradition, it's like Christmas. It's very much like Christmas. We get a lot of our Christmas customs. Yule is the basis for many of those Christmas customs, like the Christmas tree, feasts, Yule log, mistletoe, wreaths, all those things come from Yule. The celebration of Yule comes from the ancient Norse and Germanic traditions, and it is where we get a lot of our customs from. I just said that. I'm sorry, I'm reading it, so I'm reading it again. The Yule log is a large log that was burned to celebrate the return of the sun. The ashes were believed to have protective qualities. It's funny because when you look up Yule log, the first things to come up is the cake. The Yule log cake. It's like an actual cake that people make. But the cake is fashioned from the old tradition of a Yule log. And the Yule log was just a log of wood decorated with things that you would find outside and citrus fruits, because they're the last fruits that were harvested, and a candle. And they were, displayed until the solstice, where they would be burned. So on winter solstice, you would burn your Yule log from last year. So you would make a Yule log every year, and you would use part of your tree, your Yule tree, and put it on the Yule log too. So that these, like the branches of the tree, and you would burn it on the night of the winter solstice. And then you would make another one, and that Yule log you would keep and burn the next year. So kind of just goes on as a tradition to be passed along. A group of friends usually get together. We usually get together and make a Yule log every year. We didn't get to this year, but I still want to make one. And it's a fun tradition, and so we burn our logs from last year, unless we've already burned them, because sometimes we burn them during a special celebration throughout the year. Sometimes we keep them all year long. And then we make a new one together, and it's adorns our house and is a beautiful decoration. My mom has two at her house because she thinks they're so pretty. She she has two from like 2 years ago, and I was like, you can't collect them. You should be burning these. Like, you're gonna have a house full of logs, like decorated logs. But anyway, so decorations like holly, mistletoe, evergreens were used as a symbol of life and rebirth. Feasts, people always gathered for feasts and festivals to celebrate the end of the darkness and the start of winter. In pagan traditions, the winter solstice is also known as Yule. It celebrates the rebirth of the sun, marking the beginning of longer days and the return of the light. So lots of candles are used. You would make a Yule altar, and on your altar you would put symbols of rebirth, symbols for the sun, candles, holly, pine, wishes to manifest in the new year, things like that. They would have bonfires, festivals. Yule is one of the 8 Sabbats in the pagan wheel of the year, representing both death and rebirth of the sun. So, we're calling back the sun. So, some winter solstice rituals, lighting a candle, making a Yule log like we talked, lighting a fire, having a bonfire, lighting a fire inside, sitting by, the Netflix fire that they have. I used to do that before I had a fireplace, which mine, you can hear the buzzing going on and off, like that in the background. That's our electric fireplace. It's not as nice as like a crackle from a real fireplace, which the Netflix fireplace has. So I would put that on in the background always. I still do sometimes, especially when I'm reading a book. But celebrating the light. And a friend of mine recently came across this ritual called the 13 manifestations. So I'm assuming they're using 13 because there are 13 moons in a year. So 13 is a very powerful number. It's a goddess number. It's, there's 13 moons in the year. So it's a very good number. So what you do in this 13 manifestations ritual is you write down 13 manifestations. And these are things, like we were talking about with the Gemini full moon reading, that are attainable, okay? These are things that you can actually take actionable steps to get there within a shorter period of time, like a year, okay? Or even a couple months or a week or whatever. So it's not like, getting a Lamborghini if you struggle to pay rent, like you're not gonna you're not gonna go too crazy with it. These are actionable, attainable goals. So things like eating better, working out more, eating less processed foods, reading more, spending more time with friends and family, like different things, whatever comes to mind. And really when you think of it, it's like 13 sounds like a lot, but once you start writing them down and jogging your creativity and your goals and things like that, it's a lot easier than you think. Me and my boyfriend, I did mine the other day, and my boyfriend and I sat down this morning and did his, and even he was like, 13, do I have to write down 13? Can I just focus on one? And I was like, write down 13. And it came a lot easier for him than he thought too. And he doesn't usually do rituals and things. I can get him to do a few here and there with me, but so bring in your kids, bring in your partners, bring in your, family or friends and tell them about this. But anyway, so you're going to write down 13. And then you're going to write them each on little pieces of paper and put it in a bowl or a bag or some type of apparatus you can stick your hands in. And what you're going to do is you're going to write them all down, put them in the bowl, pick out just one, and then the rest that's in the bowl, you're going to burn. Take it outside and burn it, either in a fire, in a little cauldron if you have one, or, just outside safely, please. Burn it safely. So you're going to burn the rest, and that one that you have, you're going to make that your goal is to write down all the actionable steps to make that happen, and you're going to make it happen. And then the universe is going to help you to manifest the rest of the other 12 things. The universe is going to take charge of. So you got to focus on just that one, and the universe is going to focus on the rest. But even though you're just focusing on that one, you need to still pay attention to when the universe is like, oh, here. Like, I'm giving you this. You got to take it. Like, say you have a big job around the house you wanted to get done, like, redoing your stairs or something, and it seems like a really big job, and the reason why you haven't done it is because it just feels like you need help, but you haven't had help and whatever. So maybe one day you're at home and somebody's like, oh, I'll I'm coming over, do you need help with anything or whatever. Something happens where somebody is offering to help you with these stairs, and maybe you can make excuses like, oh, I'm really tired right now, maybe another time, or oh, I feel bad accepting letting this person help me. This is the universe coming in and being like, hey, hello, we're here, So pay attention to, I'm sorry if that was a bad example, but pay attention to when the universe sends these things to help you to manifest your 13 things. So I would keep a list of your 13 things. I would burn the little pieces of paper and then keep a list so that you can check back and be like, oh man, I think this is the opportunity that the universe is giving me to manifest this. And maybe it'll even come easier than that, and it'll just come on your doorstep or whatever. It'll come so easily you didn't even realize. So the universe works in mysterious ways, as we all know. And sometimes it's going to come as a slap in the face. Sometimes it's going to come as a hug. Sometimes it's going to come and it's going to be so freaking hard, and it's going to wipe things off your out of your life that you don't want wiped out of your life, but it does to make room for all these beautiful things. So just be open. Just let go and be open and surrender to the universe with those 13 things, or 12 things. And then that 13th thing, that thing that you picked out, you better get on and really make happen. Take that Capricorn energy and get in it. Write down those actionable steps and write down when you're going to do, this week I'm going to do this. This next week I'm going to do this, or this day I'm going to do this, and that next day I'm going to do this, to even prepare for that. Even if it is just getting your steps done. So Monday I'm going to gather all the materials or go out to the store and buy the materials. Tuesday I'm going to gather all the materials together. Wednesday I'm going to prep those steps. Thursday I'm going to sand the steps. I think maybe that's part of prepping. And Friday I'm going to redo that. Whatever. That kind of thing. Really make it happen. So, yes, that is our little opening part of the moon circle, and usually it flows so nicely because we do it all together and we go around and we share about usually we go around the circle, we introduce ourselves, and we share something that we're working through, maybe a challenge we're facing, and then a celebration that we have from the last month, something we're really celebrating. It could be small, it could be big, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just taking a shower. I've been showering regularly. Sometimes that's what your celebration is, and that is fine. I've just been taking care of myself, whatever it may be. So we usually go around and share and talk, and then we go into the astrology like we did here. And then we do a ritual together. Maybe it's something like one of the rituals I talked to you about. or we do a meditation. So I'm going to share with you a link in the description for the meditation that I made. So it's a beautiful meditation to trying to find. So the meditation is to reconnect with our inner wisdom and activate our inner archetype to align with the energy of our highest potential for 2025. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you either in person or for our next live moon circle. It flows a lot better than just hearing me talk on a video. But thank you for joining, and thank you for trying this out, and happy solstice, happy winter, and I hope to see you at the meditation.